Assalamualaikum everyone. Last time we started discussing the stages of travel demand forecasting model. Before that, we have discussed the traffic impact analysis and the highway classification, and then we discussed the planning terminologies and the sources of data, okay, and so on and so forth. So the first stage of travel demand forecasting model is trip generation. Okay, so we said trip generation is estimated on the basis of the land use, the type of land use, and the size of land use. And then we have IT trip generation manual, which you can use for calculating these trips. And according to ITE, they have 172 land uses. You can see the types here. And if you have now, then we discuss about the new urban development or new traditional approach to neighborhood design, in which the land use is mixed so that the number of trips are minimized. Now, how to estimate the number of trips? As I said earlier, there are two ways in which you can do it. You can use ITE manual, which is more preferred because then you have everything. Okay, then your task is just to estimate the number of trips, or you can develop your own customized equation. Okay, you can develop your own equation basically. So you have to then that will become a planning model for you. That equation will become a planning model for you. Now in this course we will only discuss the ITE manual, how to use ITE manual and how to calculate the trips using the ITE manual, because obviously we don't have our planning model. Now I have shared the paper in which they developed the customized equation for school trips in Dhahran. Right? I shared it with you yesterday. So if you want to have a look how a planning model or how the customized equation is developed, then you can have a look at that paper. Okay. So in the ITE manual, for each land use according to its size, you will see an equation and you will see an average trip rate as well. So there are two ways given in which by which you can estimate the number of trips in the ITE manual. One is using the equation and the other one is using the average trip rate. Okay, now what is a regression equation? A regression equation is basically the equation of a straight line. The equation of a straight line, which is just write y equals m x plus b. This is a general form of the regression equation, the equation of a straight line, where m is the slope, the coefficient of the equation, x is the value of the x variable. Okay, so this x will be the size of the land use. Okay, this x will represent the size of the land use. Okay, so y is the number of trips you are estimating, and b is the constant in the equation. Okay, the intercept, the constant. So this is the general form of the equation, and you can use it to calculate the number of trips. Or you can use the average trip rate. So average trip rate will be like a proportion. Okay, so average trip rate will be simply the size multiplied by a rate. The size of the land use multiplied by the rate. Okay, so for example, if your land use is residential, okay, so your size is in number of residential or number of housing units. So trip rate will be, let's say trip rate is 0.6. So you multiply 0.6 with the number of housing units. That will give you the number of trips. Okay, so trip rate will be a fraction, and you multiply that fraction with the size of the land use, and you will get the number of trips. Okay. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind when you are using ITE manual or any manual or any equation for estimating number of trips, that this will give you the total number of trips or not the number of vehicles. This will give you the total number of trips and not the number of vehicles. Okay, So it will tell you how many people would come out of this area. Okay, and that's it. These people, if they are coming by transit service, public transport service, then obviously number of vehicles will reduce. Okay, and if they are sharing cars with each other, then obviously the number of vehicles will reduce. Okay, number of trips will remain the same, but the number of vehicles will reduce. And if all the people, all the trips generated are made by a single person in his or her car, then obviously the number of trips will become equal to number of vehicles. But we cannot know it at this stage. When you are calculating number of trips, we do not know how many vehicles will be there. So you are calculating how many people will go to that area. Okay. Okay. Now let us discuss the procedure how to use the manual. When you're using the manuals, first of all, you must know your land use. Okay. You must know your analysis period, for how many years, after how many years you need the number of trips, what is your forecasted period, and what is the independent variable. Independent variable, which is indicating the size of the land use. Okay, and that will change according to the size. So these things, land use, you will find it from your area, what land use you have in your area. Analysis period you have to fix. Okay, and you may consult the client that what, for how many years you want the analysis to be done in future. An independent variable will be coming from the manual. Once you choose your land use, then you can go into the manual and find out what will be the independent variable. Okay, what should be the independent variable that I should put as X in the equation. So as we said, there are two ways. There are two ways in which you can calculate the number of trips, either using the equation. Okay, so first of all, use the equation. Equation is more preferable. Equation is more preferable. With each equation, you will find an R square value. Okay, R square value. R square is known as coefficient of determination. Coefficient of determination. And it's a fractional value. Maximum it can go to 1. Okay. Now what does it represent? It represents that how closely the values from the model represent the actual values. Okay, so you have a y from the model and you will have an actual y as well, right? So how much resemblance and how much similarity is between them, that is R square. Okay, and basically R square indicates a trend. Like if y is going up when y is increasing, then how much is the similarity with the actual trend of the actual with the trend of the actual values. Okay, so does the y increase when actual values are increasing and it decreases when actual values are decreasing? If so, then to what degree, to what degree of similarity? Okay, so if the y completely follows the trend of the actual values completely, okay, like 1:1, then R square will be 1. Okay, if the y completely values, the y of the equation complete, so number of trips from the equation are exactly following the same trend exactly. So when it increases by 1 unit, the actual units are also, the actual number of trips are also increasing by 1 unit. Okay, this is what I mean. So that is a 1-to-1 correspondence, and R square, the coefficient of determination, will be 1. Okay, and when this similarity is decreasing, the R square value is decreasing. Okay, so obviously the model or the equation cannot represent completely the actual trend. It will just give you a closeness of the actual trend. So how close is acceptable? More than 0.75 is acceptable. Okay, so if the similarity between the trend of y and the actual trend of actual values is, you can say 75%, 0.75 means what? 75% or more, you will accept the regression equation. Okay, now you don't have to worry about how to calculate the R square value. Okay, there are equations to calculate R square value, no problem with that. But in the IT manual, R square value is given. So with each regression equation, they have given an R square value. Okay, obviously using their own data, then when we developed the equation, then we applied it to our data, the US data, and we found that the equation follows the actual data by this much degree, by this much R square. Okay, so if the equation which is given in the manual is having an R square of more than 0.75, then use the equation and that's it. Use the equation and that's it. That will give you the number of trips. Okay, that's it. Then you don't have to move forward. But if the equation has an R square which is 0.75 or less, then you use the average trip rate. The average trip rate. Now in that case, like now they are saying average trip rate. So average means what? They had a number of values, right? They had a number of values. So obviously, like I told you last time as well, these the manual is developed after a lot of work. Okay, so they did not just go to one particular facility and counted number of trips and looked at the size and found the rate. No, they may have looked at thousands of facilities of the same land use. Okay, so they had thousands of trip rates. So from there they found an average, and from there they also calculated the standard deviation as well. Okay, so for example, they looked at 1,000 residential land use sites. So from those land use sites, they calculated number of trips and the size of the housing units, and then they calculated the trip rate for each housing unit, and then they calculated the average for all those sites. Okay, so for if you have data, then you can calculate average, you can calculate standard deviation as well. So if you're using average trip rate, then you have to check if average trip rate uh, is 1.1 is less than 1.1 times the standard deviation, or sorry, the standard deviation is less than 1.1 times the average trip rate. Okay, so if the trip rate is, let's say, 3, okay, if the trip rate is, let's say, 3, then 3 multiplied by 1.1 will give you 3.3. Okay, 3 multiplied by 1.1 will give you 3.3. So a standard deviation for this land use should be less than 3.3. If it is not less than 3.3, then you cannot use the average trip rate as well. Okay, so you can use the equation if the R square is more than 0.75. You can use the trip rate. If you cannot use the equation, then you come to the trip rate, look at the trip rate, and then you look at the average and the standard deviation of the trip rate. Both are given in the IT manual. If the standard deviation is less than 1.1 times the average trip rate, then you can use the trip rate. Otherwise, you cannot use the trip rate as well. Okay, so there may be some cases, I don't know, I haven't seen the full manual, but there may be cases in which you may find that both are not applicable. Then there's no option for you. Go back, develop your own equation. If the R square is less than 0.75 and standard deviation of the trip rate is more than 1.1 the average, then go back and take your own value. Okay, so to use the manual, then we have these two checks. One was for the equation, the other one is for the trip rate, and then we have the third check, which is the size of the site or the zone is within the calibration limits of the variable. The size which is taken by ITE, the size of your zone is within the limits of the size taken by the ITE. So when, for example, in USA, maybe the maximum number of, let's say you are doing it for a gas station, So let's say in USA, the maximum number of fueling booths you can have is 10. So when they developed the equation for a gas station, the maximum number of fueling booths they had was 10. Okay, now we have a very big, let's say, gas station in Bahrain which has 15 fueling booths. So 15 is out of the range of USA. Then that equation is no longer, and that trip rate is also no longer applicable to you, because they didn't know that 15 value is also possible. So their equation will not work for 15. Okay, so choose a land use analysis period, and the independent variable will come from the IT manual, as I said. Then you have two options: use the equation. If R square is more than 0.75, use the equation. Okay. Otherwise, come to the trip rate and check if the trip rate is the standard deviation of the trip rate is less than 1.1 times the average rate, then you can use the trip rate. Okay, but before doing that, make sure the size of your zone is within the size used for developing the IT equation. Okay, now don't worry from where we are going to get R square and standard deviation as average and the calibration limit. Okay, for the ITE, they are all given. They are all given in the manual. Okay, so let us do a couple of examples here. We have a 500-acre site, and this site will be developed into a housing facility. Okay, so they want to develop 400 single-family detached houses like villas. Okay, with a swimming pool and a clubhouse. Okay, pretty luxurious. Okay, so we have to find out the number of trips, which is T. Okay, and for developing we have to find out number of trips that will come out of this facility during a typical AM peak hour. The AM peak hour. So AM peak hour is the analysis period. I want the number of trips in the AM peak hour. Okay. Now don't worry again. Now this is the sort of information, the one which you see on the left hand side, sorry, the right hand side, which is given in the IT manual. Okay, so you can see the number of the type of the land use, and they have given a coding to the land use as well. So single family detached housing has a coding of 210. It's just a code. Okay, so if you don't want to write the whole term, you can just write the code 210. Okay, so don't have to worry about it. Which variable? So this is the type of land use. Okay, which independent variable you are going to use for single family detached housing? The variable is dwelling units. How many units you are going to build? Okay, how many units we are going to build? 400. Okay, we are going to build 400 units. Okay, and we want the trips on a typical AM peak hour. So typical AM peak hour will be between 7 to 9 AM. Okay, this is our analysis period. Typical means on a weekday. Okay, so these values are for AM peak hour. Okay, so in ITE have done or have collected data from 286 sites. ITE has collected data from 286 sites. Okay, for generating this equation and generating the average trip rate. 286. Okay, so they found 286 sites which had single family detached housing, and then they took the data of number of dwelling units and the number of trips coming out of those facilities. Okay, and they must have done it in different peak hours, right? That's why they are giving a separate data, a set of data for AM peak hour. So they must have a separate set of data for PM peak hour as well, right? So you can imagine how much work they have done. Okay, for those in those 286 sites, the average number of housing units were 194. Dwelling means housing. Dwelling, they are using the word dwelling here. Dwelling means housing. Okay, and for these trips, they also know the directional distribution. Okay, so 75% trips are going out and 25% trips are coming in. But we will not use it right now. We will use it later on. Okay, don't worry about it right now. I just want to tell how much data they have collected. Okay, for a single family detached housing, the average trip rate is 0.75. Okay, so they collected data from 286 sites. For each site, they calculated their trip rate, and their average was 0.75. The range minimum maximum 0.33 to 2.27. Okay, and the standard deviation is 0.9. 0.9. Okay, and then you look at this graph. Okay, this is the graph which is used for developing the regression equation. When you are developing the regression equation, you will form a graph like this, or using the regression equation you can make a graph like this. Okay, so on the x-axis you have the x value, which is the number of dwelling units. On the y-axis you have the number of trips. Okay, number of trips, the t value. Okay, they are saying vehicle trips, but as I told you, is vehicle trips meaning every vehicle has one person. Vehicle trips meaning assuming that every vehicle has one person. Okay, so you can see the lines represent the equation. Okay, and the actual data are these points. Okay, so the dotted line is the number of trips calculated using the average rate, and the solid line is the number of trips calculated using the equation. This is the equation. Okay, I think I lost the connection for a few seconds. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Dr. We can hear.
Okay, let me. Okay, let's see. So I was saying that they calculated the number of trips using the average trip rate. Okay, so using different values of x, they multiply by 0.75, and they plotted the points here. So these are the points with the dotted line. Then they put the value of x in the equation. Okay, different values of x. Then they got different values of t, and then they plotted it, and they got the solid line. Okay, and these points which you can see, the Okay, sorry for that. There's some problem with my connection, but hopefully it will not happen. Okay, so just for the sake of having less disturbance, I will not open my camera. Okay. Okay. So I was just trying to explain the how they plotted. Okay, so the points are the actual number of trips. The dotted line is plotted using the average trip rate, and the solid line is plotted using the equation. Okay, now the procedure was, if I go back, choose your land use. Land use is single family detached housing. Analysis period, AM peak hour. Independent variable, number of dwelling units. Okay, use the equation first if the R square is more than 0.75. If I come here, the R square, you have the slides with you. Okay, but just believe me for the time being that R square is 0.89. R square is 0.89, so I can use the equation, no problem. I can use the equation, I don't have to use the average trip rate here. Okay, then there was another thing which they mentioned in the last point, that the site or zone is within the calibration limits of the independent variable. How do I know the calibration limit? you see the plot here. Okay, in the plot, see what is the maximum number of dwelling units they had. You see here, the maximum number of dwelling units is this one, which is close to 3000. Okay, and my site has 400 units. Okay, so the maximum, the limit of the number of dwelling units for this equation and for this trip rate is close to 3000, and my site has 400. So it is within the limit, okay. And if you can see, most of the sites had, most of the points are where within 1000. Most of the points are within 1000. Okay, and my site still is within 1000. Okay, so even if I consider majority of the sites as my calibration limit, okay, then majority of the sites had number of housing units 1000, and my site has number of housing units within 1000. But even if it is less than 3000, it is sufficient. Okay, if you are less than the maximum value we have taken in the graph, or the maximum value for the point shown in the graph, you are okay. You can use the equation. Okay, now the equation is 9.74 plus 0.7x. Okay, let me write it here. So the equation is 9.74 plus 0.7x. Okay, where x is what? Number of dwelling units. Okay, I'm not sharing my screen. Okay, so I think there's no problem with this slide. I've already shown it number of times. So here we are going to use the equation. Here we are going to use the equation. So x is 400 here. Give me the number of trips. Give me the number of trips.
290.
Sorry?
290.
290. Okay, you put x as 400 in this equation, right? T.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just one thing which I was trying to explain, the calibration limit. Okay, so you can see the maximum point on this graph is close to 3000, and my number of housing units are 400, so this is under the limit. Okay, this is the calibration limit. Okay, so this was the last point which I was saying when the slides were not sharing. Okay, so 290 units is the trips, the number of trips which you can assume coming out of this facility in the AM peak hour. In the AM peak hour, yes. In the AM peak hour, I'm assuming 290 people to come out of this facility. Okay, 290 trips total will come out of this facility. Okay, now let's say just for the sake of assumption that R square for this equation was 0.7. If R square was 0.7, then I cannot use the equation. Then I have to use the average trip rate. If you want to use the average trip rate, then the rule is that the standard deviation should be less than 1.1 times the average value. The standard deviation should be 1.1 times or less than 1.1 times the average value. Standard deviation is 0.9. Okay. If I do 1.1 into 0.75, how much will I get? 1.1 into 0.75. Let me keep this right. Yeah. 1.1 into 0.75 will give you how much?
0.825.
0.8?
25.
0.825. So that means what? Can I use average trip rate or not?
Yes.
No. The standard deviation is higher, right? What is the standard deviation here? 0.9.
Oh,
And
okay. Should be more.
1.1 times the average trip rate is 0.8 something. So the standard deviation should have been less than 0.8 or less than 0.825. Okay. The standard deviation should be less than 1.1 times the average value. Okay, so you take the average value, do 1.1 times of it. Whatever value you are getting, standard deviation should be less than that. If it is not less than that, you cannot use the average trip rate. Got it? Okay, so
Yes.
if the R square was not applicable, then the average trip rate for this case was also not applicable. Okay, if the R square was saying that you cannot use the equation, then the average trip rate in this case cannot also be used. Okay, you have to keep this in mind. Okay, so this is just for the sake of exercises, so for the sake of explanation. Obviously, R square is 0.89. We use the equation and this is fine. Okay, this is another example here. You have to, you are a consultant, a traffic engineering agency, and you have been hired to do traffic impact analysis. And by the way, I heard something in the departmental meeting, which I feel you guys may be thinking as well. Okay, and I want to clarify it. Okay, they said that transportation or traffic professionals can only go in the Ministry of Works or Ministry of Transportation, and that's it. Okay, this is not true. This is not true. Okay, there are a number of organizations who can use people who can do traffic analysis. These organizations include the cargo, the shipping organizations, and because they deal with how to route their vehicles, how to make their trips from one area to the other area. Okay, so they need people who can do traffic analysis for them. Okay, and then we have traffic engineering consultants as well. Like you have structural consultants, we have traffic engineering consultants as well. These traffic engineering consultants may provide you traffic impact studies, or they may be hired by government to do the studies on their behalf, because government do not have large units for doing these studies. These studies require maybe hundreds of people, even for one area. Okay, so I know in Pakistan, like they have just given the example for USA here. Okay, so that means these consultants are also there in USA. For Pakistan, I know I have worked with at least 3 or 4 of them. Okay, when we were in the university in Pakistan, we were hired by a private consultant to do their traffic engineering analysis, traffic impact analysis. Okay, so if you are studying this course and you are thinking, okay, maybe it's fun or it will give us an easy grade, and then you don't pursue it for your career, I don't think this is the right approach. Okay, so if you like something in this course, rest assured that you can pursue it as a career as well. I have pursued it and I'm happy. Okay, obviously there are different fields in which you can go. You may be hired by the government, you may be hired by university, so on and so forth, but there are spots available for you. Okay, so this was just a side note. Okay, since you are taking advanced traffic engineering course, so at least you should know this much, that you have opportunities in front of you. Okay, obviously in the department meeting I will not argue. They are my seniors, they are my colleagues, but I just want to convey my concern with you, that if you are thinking you cannot be hired or you will not have a job in this field if you are not hired by the government, this is wrong. Okay, okay, so you are a consultant, you are hired to do a traffic impact analysis for a new fast food restaurant with a drive-through window. So see, even within the fast food restaurant, we have with drive-through and without drive-through as well. Okay, so we have to look into the IT manual and we have to see which of these following statements is true for estimating the number of trips. If you want to estimate the number of trips for this restaurant using the IT manual, then with which of these equations is true? Okay, you will apply all the checks which I have just shown you, but you have to select one of the equations here, one of the statements here. The first statement is we cannot estimate the number of trips because there is no equation. We cannot estimate the number of trips because the standard deviation is too high. Okay, so these are the two checks, one for average trip rate, one for the equation. The third is we can use the average trip rate because the standard deviation is within acceptable limits, 1.1 times the average value. And we can use the average trip rate but add a factor of safety to it. Okay, now we haven't discussed it, so you can say that, you know, maybe if equation and trip rate both are unacceptable, both are not fulfilling the criteria of R square and the standard deviation, then maybe this can be a choice. Okay, somebody says, okay, we don't have customized equation. We do not have the time to do our own analysis and make our own equation. You have to use something from the IT manual. Then if both statements A and B are correct, that you cannot estimate the number of trips using the equation or the trip rate, then maybe you can opt for the last option. This can be your last option. Use the equation or use the average trip rate, but you know the standard deviation is too high, so you add a factor of safety to it. Okay, maybe increase the number of trips by 10% for just for the sake of safety. Okay, but let us see. Let us look at the data given in the IT manual for a fast food restaurant with a drive-through window, and let us see which of these statements is correct. Okay, fast food restaurant with drive-through window, coding 934. The variable, the independent variable, the x value is square feet floor area. Total floor area, you take the square feet of the floor area, 1000 square feet. Okay, so number of trips are given for each 1000 square feet. Number of trips are given for each 1000 square feet. Okay, so your x value is number of thousand. Okay, I think there is some problem whenever I show the graph, right? The system doesn't want me to show the graph. They are afraid of the graph. Okay, whenever I show the graph, the connection drops. Okay, so I think the problem is with the graph. But anyways, you cannot do anything about it. So for these restaurants, they have collected data from 65 sites. Okay, the average floor area they had was 4,000, so 1,000 square feet, 4,000 square feet. The average floor area for those 65 sites was 4,000. The trip distribution 51% entering, 49% exiting. Again, we will not use it right now. The average trip rate is given. The range minimum maximum 1.02 163.33. Okay, standard deviation 28.3. Okay, now you come to the graph. Now you do not see any line here for any solid line here. As I told you, solid line is drawn using the equation. So that means no solid line means no equation. So if there's no equation, obviously there's no R square as well. Okay. So there's no equation in this case. For fast food restaurant with drive-through window, there is no regression equation. Okay. So I can only use the average trip rate. Okay. Before I went on to use the average trip rate, I had to check the calibration limit as well. Okay, you can see the maximum point on this graph is close to 10,000 square feet. Okay, 10 is the number here and each number is 1,000 square feet. So the maximum calibration limit here is 10,000 square feet. How much is my area? My area is not given. Okay, so I will assume that it is under the calibration limit. Whatever the area is, it is under the calibration limit. Okay, so this check will not be applied. This check is not, it cannot be applied right now. Okay, for average trip rate, so I cannot use the equation, so my only option is to use the average trip rate. Can I use the average trip rate? For that, I need to check the standard deviation. The standard deviation should be 1.1 times the average trip rate. Okay, is the standard deviation less than 1.1 times the average trip rate? What is your answer?
Yes.
Yes, because it is less than the average. So even if you don't multiply by 1.1, it is already less than average. Okay. So 1.1 time of average will be even higher. Average trip rate is 49.35. If you do 1.1, it will be more than that. Standard deviation is already 28, which is less than average. Okay. You don't have to check. Okay. So I can use the average trip rate. No problem. Okay. So if I go back, if you are the consultant, if you are saying there is no equation, so they will ask you what is the other option. Okay, then the other option is use the average trip rate. Okay, so in this case, if you are the consultant, you can tell the client I will use average trip rate because the standard deviation is within the acceptable limits. Okay, so this is the last statement you will give the client. Okay, obviously statement A is also correct. Statement A is also correct, but this is not your final answer. Okay. This is your client is not like your instructor. Huh? You go to the instructor, doctor, I cannot do it. I cannot do the assignment. I cannot make the submission on this date, and they will give you another date. No. Okay. Your client is giving you money, so he will not accept your excuses. He will ask you, if you cannot estimate using the equation, what is the other option? So the other option is statement C. So your final answer is, I can use the average trip rate to calculate the number of trips, and that's it. Okay, so your final answer is statement C. Okay, now you can see a network here. Okay, this network represents 14 traffic analysis zones. So okay, so as I told you, when you are doing transportation planning, you divide your area into traffic analysis zones, into smaller zones, and you will estimate the number of trips for each zone. And everything which you are doing, all the 4 steps of travel demand forecasting model, starting with trip generation, will be applied to these smaller zones. Okay, so how many trips are coming from each of these zones, how many trips are going to other zones, and so on and so forth. Okay, so so this is your area. Okay, and you can see zone 11, 12, 13, and 14 are out of your area, but still the trips are going in those areas, so you will show it. Okay, you can include the analysis zones which are out of your area, out of the boundaries of your area, if the trips from your area are going towards them, or the trips from these areas are coming towards your area. Okay, so you can see there are 4 extra zones which are out of the circle. Is my area. Circle is the area for which I'm doing the planning, but this circle is influenced by the areas which are outside as well. So 11, 12, 13, 14 are external traffic analysis zones. Okay, and the one with which are inside the circle are internal. Okay, now when you are doing this travel demand forecasting model, you can ignore some of the highways. Okay, you can ignore some of the highways. Okay, I think they are saying it later on. Okay, but I will just tell you. So you can see here in this figure, they are showing the highways in the area. Okay, but they are only showing the highways which are within the boundary of the area. So you don't see any highways in areas 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, they are just showing the ends of the highway which are already in your area. So this highway is ending here. This highway is ending here. But where are the highways in this area itself? They are not showing it. Okay, because this is out of our planning jurisdiction. Okay, now you can see the types of highways they are showing here: principal arterial, freeway, principal arterial, surface. So freeways are, over the surface, bridges. Okay, bridges are freeways are normally separated from the ground level. Okay, so they are elevated. So to make sure you can go at high speed without intersections and so on. Then we have principal arterial surface, which is with intersections and some surface connections, and then we have minor arterials. Okay, so they are just showing these 3 types of highways. They are just showing these three types of highways. Obviously, this map is for estimating the number of trips. Okay, or working with the number of trips. So at this point, we don't need a detailed map of the highways in this area. We are not designing the highways. Okay, we are doing planning for the area itself, for the whole area itself. So we don't need the details of the highways. Okay, so we are just showing the main highways, mainly the highways which are carrying the trips between the 2 areas. Okay, these highways are mainly the highways which can carry you from one area to the other. Okay, so these highways are basically arterials, principal freeways, principal surface, and minor arterials. Okay, if you have some other highways which are also connecting these areas, you can include them here, but small local streets and small collector roads will not be shown in this map. Okay, because then it will become very crowded, and this is not your purpose. It will not fulfill, or it will not add to anything to your analysis. Okay, so this is the type of map you will see even in the remaining steps. You will see this type of map. Okay, so for each area they have calculated the total number of trips using the ITE manual. Okay, and you know that in the ITE manual they have given the trips entering and the trips exiting as well, right? With the ITE manual. So whatever t value you calculate, then you can divide the t value in these two percentages, the number of trips entering the area and the number of trips exiting the area. So if I see here, percentage trips exiting. Okay, so the remaining will be entering, right? So 75% are exiting, so 25% are entering. So total trips were 1000. Total trips were 1000. Out of 1000, 250, which is 25% are entering, and 750, which is 75% are exiting. Okay, then 750, total trips were 750. Out of 750, 60% were exiting, so 40% were entering. So 60% means for 450 and 40% means 300. Okay, so for each side, again they did not give the details. Okay, just for the sake of an example. So after you calculate the number of trips, so you will have an area. In that area you will have different traffic analysis zones. For each traffic analysis zone you will apply that the ITE manual equation or the trip rate, like I have showed you in the previous example. After you calculate the number of trips using the equation or the trip rate, you will have total number of trips, and then using the percentage of trips entering and exiting the area, you will calculate the number of trips entering and exiting the area. Okay, this will be done for all the traffic analysis zones in your area. Okay, so what you would do for each zone, I have shown you in the examples. After you have the number of trips for each zone, then you will use the percentages given for entering and exiting trips and calculate the trips entering and exiting. Okay, now you can see up to 10 zones, they are saying trip types are internal, then 11, 12, 13, 14 are external trips because they are going in the analysis zones which are out of your area. Okay, so these are known as internal trips because they are generating from within the area of your planning, and these are known as external trips because they are generating from outside the area of your planning. Okay, so on Thursday inshallah we will start with the second phase of transportation travel demand forecasting model, which is the trip distribution. So if you have any questions, you can ask me.